There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Program Guyz Positional Preview Podcast. This is going to be a little separate entity from the main podcast that we drop every week. I'm trying to dig in deep with every one of the position groups. Sorry, guys, this is Mark Hall. I'm joined today by Patrick Hertzberger. He's joining, killing it. And I'm trying to dig deep, guys. I'm trying to get into every one of the position groups, see sort of where we were last season and what we're looking forward to this year. So you can expect both a look at what we had in 2022, as well as a forward-looking 2023 positional grouping for every single position. Hopefully, truthfully, offensive line has me a little bit shook because it's offensive line, but we're going to see about that one. And in addition to every single podcast, guys, I'm going to be writing up a small article for each position group, a write-up that will accompany each one. We're going to figure out exactly how we'll publish that at some point, but please do check that out. We'll put the link in the information for this episode, as well as every single episode. And we would love if you guys would check this stuff out. Please let us know any kind of feedback you can give. We would really love it. Like and subscribe, share with your friends, anything you're inclined to do. If you like the content, we would love if you did. Please follow the Program Guyz on Twitter at Program Guyz with a Z, on Instagram at Program Guyz with a Z, on TikTok with TikTok Pat over here at Program Guyz with a Z. Am I right?
Yep, that's right.
Yep. We're still on Threads. We're one of the few accounts still posting on Threads. So if you're a holdout, please hit us up there. We've got a Facebook account. I think it's the Program Guyz or Program Guyz Podcast. Hit that up too. Anywhere you think you can find us, we are there. We are getting it out for the people. Patrick, how you doing, baby?
Good, man. I've been wanting to talk running backs for a while now, so I'm glad we're about to dig deep into this.
Awesome. There we go. We're talking running backs today.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting position group, right? Because Eric Gray was the entire room last year. Right here in front of me, man. Eric Gray had the, ninth most rushing yards that anyone has ever had in an OU season. How's that happen?
Yeah.
And how do you move on from that?
Yeah, I would agree. It's also crazy to see here that Jovantae Barnes had over half the amount of carries Marcus Major had. That is something that I did not notice or think about.
It's the Marcus Major conundrum, man. If you haven't listened before, we all love Marcus Major in the Program Guyz podcast room, but it's the same thing every single time. It's a flash of brilliance, and then he can't get past the line of scrimmage. And it's an injury that has cropped up, and he can't play through it. And I don't know how hurt the guy's been in his past, so it's hard to comment on those things, but the Marcus Major experience has not been what Oklahoma fans expected it to be. He's a big-bodied monster, and you'd expect him to be running through people every single time.
Yeah, totally agree. It's also what is nice to see, and I know we'll go into the look forward soon, but we're bringing most of the running back room back. Eric Gray is the only one we're losing there.
Yeah, him and his every single yard we had on the ground last season. Eric Gray was exceptional for Oklahoma last year. He had, I think, over half the yards on the ground last year. And over half its rushing yards on the ground. Guys, read the article. I put some work into this thing. Eric Gray had 42% of OU's rushing attempts and over half the yards. There's a gaping hole left at that running back position. Did you think enough from Jovantae Barnes, Gavin Sawchuk, anyone, Marcus Major, right?
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I did. And honestly, let me ask you this. Do you think if we didn't have Eric Gray last year, would we have still gone 6 and 7? We wouldn't have dropped more games to me. So in that sense, I don't think we're losing anything.
I think we certainly would have. I look at games like West Virginia, where Marvin Mims drops a touchdown pass in the rain. Can't decide if he wants to wear gloves or not. Jaleel Farouk is ineffective. And Eric Gray is the only thing happening on offense. Now, I'll grant you, we lost that game anyway.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I want to fact check myself. That's what I was saying.
But I think, you take him out of the equation there, and who are we relying upon in his place?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Marcus Major at one point is sorry, you go ahead.
No, I feel like Jovantae Barnes could have picked it up. Like, I do think he's that good. I think if we would have split between him and Sawchuk, it would have been okay.
I
think we still would have gone 6 and 7. That's what I'm saying. I think we would have still got 6 and 7. So I don't know.
Well, and that gets to is a running back ever going to be the thing that drives your success anyway? Right? Sure. Or are the limitations elsewhere? Tune into the quarterback podcast. Going to hold back your running game anyway. As good as a running back might be, 9th best all time in OU history, and we got some good backs. Maybe even still, your ceiling is 6 or 7.
Yeah. And again, he only played 2-3 years for Oklahoma.
I believe 3, right? Because he had 1 year, and then he was the punt return, and then he had the muff punt year, and then it was this past season. But
also he had a lot of competition before last year where he was the clear starter, is what I'm saying. Like, to be top 10 and also only have 1 year as the clear starter is very impressive.
Oh yeah. No matter what, please don't misunderstand, if you're listening, the way we're speaking about Eric Gray here. The idea that, okay, we might have been 6 and 7 either way, that might be true. But that's also counting on a lot from Jovantae Barnes, a lot from Gavin Sawchuk, and a lot from Marcus Major's health routine. And Eric Gray provided a lot.
Yeah.
We will remember him, even though all of college football is not going to remember this guy.
That's true.
It was an incredible development season for Eric Gray out of 2 kind of disappointing ones before that. And he's a Tennessee guy, Pat. What happened there, man?
I was super excited when he came. He had good years at Tennessee too.
Yeah, him and Wanye and Key Lawrence all came at the same time. And man, even with disappointing performances, those dudes might all be NFL players one day.
Yeah.
We'll see about Key, but it was really something. So that's 22. That's we've looked at what we had, what we're missing. Eric Gray is in the echelon of great forgotten OU running backs. I remember way back in 2021 when Kennedy Brooks took us to an OU Texas victory single-handedly with no one else at quarterback helping him, no matter what, at all.
Yeah.
Eric Gray's in that list for me. Moving forward to 2023, a summer full of development, hopefully, for the young guys in the room. I'm thinking Jovantae Barnes, Gavin Sawchuk, the Cheez-It Bowl superstars. I'm thinking hopefully Marcus Major as a redshirt senior is able to put it all together. And 2 new major additions in freshman Kalib Hicks and freshman Daylon Smothers. Pat, let's just get a general overview. What do you think the 23 running back room looks like at the start of the season?
Yeah. I think we could see Marcus Major at the start of the season just because he is more of that steady redshirt senior. However, as the season progresses, I think Jovantae Barnes easily takes most of the snaps and Gavin Sawchuk comes in at second. I think you see a fadeaway of Marcus Major as those guys continue to get more game time and more carries. What about you?
Yeah, I think I totally agree, except that I expect Barnes to take that starting role immediately. I think it's his job to lose, and then we'll see Marcus come in for the similar situations that we saw him last season once Eric Gray broke out. It's short yardage, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and it's goal line plays where the whole game is running forward. The problem for him is going to be Jovantae Barnes did not exactly lose weight over the summer. I know that he was hampered in the spring with a foot injury, but he had a summer with Jerry Schmidt, just like all of these guys did. And he's going to show up ready to play with a body that's built to take the kind of physicality, which leads me to wonder, by the end of the season, is there even a place in the room for Marcus Major?
Yeah, I agree. And I was going to ask you this. Do you think a freshman goes in and gets a good amount of snaps with Kalib Hicks and Daylon Smothers?
I am so excited for both of these guys for different reasons. I think if anything happens to Jovantae Barnes, anything, and Marcus Major isn't to pick it up, we're going to see a lot of Kalib Hicks. Looking at clips from the spring, looking at just the way he has developed physically, there is so much man there that if it comes down to it, that's who you go to versus a more slight Gavin Sawchuk, a more leaned up Daylon Smothers. I think if anything happens to Jovantae Barnes, Kalib Hicks is who to look at. He might get on the field anyway if something happens to Marcus Major and you need a big body that's not Jovantae Barnes.
Yeah, agreed. All right, but dark horse, who's the dark horse? Because for me, I know who it is for me. Who do you think it is for you?
Oh, I mean, I guess it's hard because, like, what's a dark horse, right? I just mentioned Kalib Hicks. I would love to see Daylon Hollywood Smothers hit the field a little bit and showcase his game-breaking speed. The problem with that whole idea is if he's on the field, it means Gavin Sawchuk is not. And we saw in the Cheez-It Bowl, Gavin Sawchuk has that kind of up and down quickness. He's going to get through a hole faster than anyone. So if we're seeing Smothers, it means we're not seeing Gavin Sawchuk. And that's where I lean iffy on it. Who's your guy?
Howie Walker. Spring game MVP
God,
2 years in a row.
Man.
I'm still holding out on it. I'm still holding out that he could be maybe our Deuce Vaughn or so. I just don't know if we want to use him in that kind of way. Like pounding the football every play, you know?
Yep. And I love Tommy Walker. He's what, 6'1", 6'2", 215. He's 5'9".
No, yeah.
Much shorter. He's a little bowling ball kind of guy. And we saw in the spring game 2 years ago, which is how you know I can't quit this because I'm citing the spring game 2 years ago. But he's got quick feet for a guy that size. He's stout, but he's got soft hands and he can move well laterally. And he had plenty of production at a lower level before transferring to Oklahoma. Maybe the talent's not there to consistently produce it at that level, but God, I'd love to see. Maybe we're up, 24 in the fourth quarter sometime, and we can really see Tommy Walker get some work, because since he arrived on campus, I wanted to watch that guy play football.
Me too. I could also see a situation where maybe things aren't working well in the third quarter, like where it's a close game, offense can't get going. All of a sudden, we just have a couple packages for him to get the offense going. I could see that happening as well.
Well, we saw it last year, just switching out entire platoons of skill positions.
Yeah.
And if shit ain't working with Jovantae Barnes and shit ain't working with Gavin Sawchuk, you got to go to someone. And it's either freshman or Marcus Major on the goal line, or a guy who's played real football before.
Yep.
In Tommy Walker. I think it's a good place to be in, that's someone that, like, this is an X factor, and he also might not hit the field a single time on offense.
Right. Yeah. The fact that he didn't transfer to me is the reason why I have hope. Like, I feel like there's just something there, because he kind of should have after last year if he didn't see any other potential, because there's so many other guys in this room, and he is someone who could be a star out of Kansas.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Or even not to this level, right? But you think about Trey Sermon going to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Just sort of a piece that fits on a team that needs that piece.
Yep.
Tawee Walker could absolutely fill that role. And he's got a lot of different motivations. I'm pretty sure he's a father already. So it might be to the point where he's thinking academically, I just got to get this stuff done and have a life. But he's someone who physically offers something that only Marcus Major really offers on the roster right now. I would love to see if he goes crazy.
Yeah. And I think you could see it happen if Jovantae Barnes goes down, just because Jovantae Barnes is our super speedster and Tawee Walker's so fast.
I would like, so give me your thoughts on Gavin Sawchuk. I'm sure that people are listening and they watched the Cheez-It Bowl and they're like, this isn't enough Sawchuk love. He went, 15 carries for guys, I'm not going to have this right. It's off the dome. It doesn't matter. He had a very successful game and showed us something we hadn't seen from that position all season long last year. What do you think about Sawchuk going into the next season?
Reminded me as a Kennedy Brooks in the way how composed he was, in the way he let the play develop for him and then took what he found and was extremely successful in doing so. Just the patience. Like, he didn't look like a freshman back, but then the explosiveness was just incredible as well.
You can really see the track athlete with Gavin Sawchuk in the way he's able to just throw his foot in the ground and cut up field. I think it was Oklahoma versus the World or something, some account like that tweeted it today. But his touchdown, his 15-yard touchdown against Florida State, it's exactly what you're describing, where he sort of hits the hole and takes a step and it's not there, but then it's there. Yeah. And he bursts through, and there are like 4 Florida State defenders, and all of them are just out of arm's reach because he's too fast. Yep. I think it's going to be a little bit different than we've had in the past where, Eric Gray was the guy last year. And before that, as much as we wanted to make Eric Gray happen, Kennedy Brooks was the guy. And once we got Ramondre Stevenson the year before that, Ramondre Stevenson was the guy. I think that this season, as much as Jovantae Barnes is probably going to be the guy, Gavin Sawchuk is such an explosive weapon that you can't keep him off the field. Yeah,
I would completely agree. I think Gavin Sawchuk could be number 1 by the end of the year too. That's a total possibility. It reminds me a lot going back to Mixon and Pirine, where there wasn't a number 1. They were both.
You've been on this.
Yeah, I have been on this. I feel like we could see them. Maybe not this season. Maybe they're too young. But if they stick around to junior, senior year, this could easily be a Mixon Pirine situation where you have 2 elite running backs.
Right. 2 guys who are NFL bound in some capacity, no matter what. And guys that don't overlap too much. You can get both of them on the field in ways that are super creative, super interesting, super imaginative, and stuff that we didn't see last season. We would see a lot of Eric Gray and, Braden Willis is in the backfield. That's super cool. Daniel Parker's out there. But those guys are static players. Those guys are, Daniel Parker's going to block. Braden Willis is going to block on that play. He might get a handoff. You might get a weird fake snap to him, but that's 1 in a million. Now, you can put Jovantae Barnes back there and Gavin Sawchuk back there, and both sides of the defense are wondering if the ball is coming the direction.
Yeah. I have a question. So, do you think this is kind of a make it or break it year for like our running backs?
No, because for 2 big reasons. One is there's so much talent in the room that even if Jovantae Barnes doesn't break out like we expect, and Gavin Sawchuk doesn't break out like we expect, and Marcus Major gets injured like we expect, Kalib Hicks and Daylon Smothers offer another kind of option for next season, even if they're not the guys this season. And in addition to that, a piece we haven't touched on at all is DeMarco Murray.
Right.
I think there's no such thing as a make it or break it season for DeMarco Murray at Oklahoma. he's got a blank check for as long as he wants, as long as he's recruiting like he is and sending guys to the league like he is. Kennedy Brooks is on the Philadelphia Eagles roster. Like every one of these dudes ends up playing ball in the league, and I think DeMarco Murray gets more time than that. If he believes in these guys, I think Levy, Venables, etc. believe in these guys, so long as those guys are around too.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
So, Patrick, let's run through the last of these guys on the list. I don't want to miss anyone on the roster. Like I said, we want to go deep into these position groups. I want to get, do you have any thoughts on Emeka Megwa, the University of Washington transfer in 22? He came over but was ineligible to play. He's got good size. I don't have it right in front of me, but I remember he's a big-bodied, shorter guy. I kind of think the room's too crowded. I kind of think if we haven't seen him in the spring, if we didn't see much, and if we haven't seen anything over the summer with him, I kind of think it's too crowded. Do you have thoughts past that?
When he first came in, and again, this was last year, he transferred to us too late to play last year. But he's a 4-star, I believe he's a 4-star running back. He went to the University of Washington. He's the real deal. I also think like he's definitely a dark horse here. 100%. Like someone who could beat out potentially Marcus Major for that third snap role that we're looking at right now.
Something happens to Marcus. Why not?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm really, really excited to have him on the team just because he is that redshirt sophomore. He's got that year. Like we have a very young running back room right now. Man, yeah, I'm excited. And he's been around the program for over a year too. He's hungry.
Yep.
Like he's super hungry to get in.
And he knows the offense in ways that someone who would be a newcomer like this would be a real newcomer. Yeah. Emeka Megwa was coming in with a year plus of experience, even if it's just practice snaps. Right. He's in every single running back meeting. He's in every single offensive meeting. He knows the offense in ways that at least these freshmen don't. Right.
Yeah. Like if people are going to be calling the name of Kalib Hicks, Emeka Megwa might be before him in like Jeff Levy's head.
Yeah. If Hicks isn't showing it during the season for any reason, maybe we do see some Megwa. Past that, there's 2 freshmen. I think they're like preferred walk-ons that have joined the squad. We've got Chapman McCown out of Norman North. I actually love a guy who was the best player on the local team. Throw him a bone. That's what I think this is, and I don't mind it, especially since it's just a walk-on offer. Why not?
Yeah, it could be very good. You never know.
He's a little guy. Did you see Chapman McCown went to Cheez-It Bowl practice and was hanging out with the other guys there, and he is exceptionally little.
He's the easiest one to pick out of a picture, that's for sure.
He really is. And then we've also got we've also got freshman Braylon Colgrove. I don't know anything about him, and I would not expect him to play into the plans for this season, but you need guys to take snaps in practice, and that's not a small role, that's a big role. So glad to have Megwa, McCown, and Colgrove on the roster, even if we don't see a ton of them this season.
Yeah. Chapman McCown, Patrick. I'm glad you mentioned him again because I am excited for him.
Just if anything happens,
he could be awesome.
If anything happens with him, I'm psyched.
Yeah.
It's like found money. It's always good.
Yeah.
All right, Pat, any final thoughts you have on the Oklahoma running back room headed into 2023?
Let's just say after this conversation and in general, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about this running back room. I think they're going to be a great room. They're not going to be our problem. If they're not successful, it's because other things weren't successful, like the offensive line, not throwing it enough, things like that. I think they have the talent to be very, very good.
I really like that a lot. I think that there's so much talent in the room that if the offense doesn't click and it's because of a running back, you just find another running back. We
Right.
have so many options and so many guys that provide different kinds of options that if Jovantae Barnes isn't it, maybe it's Gavin Sawchuk. And if it's not Gavin Sawchuk, throw Kalib Hicks in there or Tawi Walker, right? Just Daylon Smothers is a guy we didn't hit on nearly enough, but there's a game-breaking speed there. There's options galore. I agree with you that this won't be the thing that breaks down the 2023 Oklahoma Sooners. This is going to be a good part of the offense, no matter who breaks through. And the only things that'll hold them back are going to be, frankly, quarterback play and offensive line play. The running back position is so dependent upon those two things that that's just sort of the game sometimes.
Yep. Agreed.
All right, Pat, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I do. You just asked me that and I gave them, but I have more thoughts now. I'm seeing just like a lot of posts about who's running back university, like who has the best running back room this coming up in this year. We are sneaky, could be in that category of top 5 this year easily.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things that you see at the end of the season, but people won't see at the beginning of the season because there's no top line NFL player there just yet. Like none of our guys are draft eligible except for Marcus Major. So you're not zeroing in like you are with Blake Corum at Michigan, for example.
Right.
Absolutely, though. If we look up at the end of the year and Jovantae Barnes and Gavin Sawchuk are both considered real NFL prospects, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Do you think that either of them could be in the top 2-3 of total running back yards in the Big 12? Like I think that's easily possible.
Yeah, Jovantae Barnes good. I think if we get to a world where we're relying on Gavin Sawchuk that much, there's probably more of a platoon going on. But Jovantae Barnes could easily be like 3rd in rushing in the Big 12 this season, and I wouldn't bat an eye at it. He is super duper talented. I've said it before. He reminds me of DeMarco Murray when he runs the ball. He's a little up high, but there's so much power that he gets away with it. Yep.
That's all I had. Those are my final thoughts.
Good, man. I'm glad that I asked a second time.
What about you? You already kind of
man. I've been going off plenty. I would just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us on the Running Back Program Guys Positional Preview Podcast episode. We are psyched to be bringing this to you guys. And as always, if you like what you're hearing, share it with a buddy, share it with a friend. Like the episode, subscribe to the podcast on whatever you found us on, and then go subscribe to us on another one. We would really, really appreciate that. Follow us everywhere you can. It's Program Guys with a Z on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads, Facebook, everything you can. And absolutely, please let us know any kind of feedback you have on the episode in the comment section below. We truly appreciate it. We read every comment, and we really do love it. That's all I got for the running back episode. We'll be back with you soon with another one. We haven't scheduled the timing out yet, but it's coming soon, baby. So please be in touch. And that's all I got. Patrick, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.
3, 2, 1.
There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being